Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and appreciate you guys joining me for the video today. Always glad to have you guys around here. And guys, today we're going to be talking about $200,000 bass boats and how they're just literally right on top of us, right around the corner. I got interested. I started, doing some research a little bit on the cost of the most expensive bass boats, and guys, I found several of them that retailed out for $189,000, fully rigged, top of the line bass boats, several different manufacturers, not just one. And I thought about the insanity of this, how we've gotten to the point where we're having bass boats alone that are knocking on the $250,000 mark, which is probably not going to be that many more years before they hit $250,000. The stupidity, the insanity, the absolute unnecessariness of it. So I'm going to comment on that in today's video and sort of give you guys my thoughts on that, and definitely want to hear your guys' opinion on this as well. Also, guys, thank you very much for getting started. Everybody that's taken time to hit that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling, man, I hope you like the videos. And if you like the videos, hitting that subscribe button is a good way to support the channel. Signing up to be a channel member, Patreon member, using all the links I put in my video description. Thank you very much for everybody that's been doing that. I mean, if you guys are one of the viewers that have been taking me up on that, a big thank you from me and my family. We really appreciate that. Okay guys, I remember when the first year I started fishing the circuit back in 1986, the top of the line, most expensive bass boat out there was like a Ranger 350 that retailed for probably, I don't know, it was like $16,000 or $17,000. Now this was literally the top of the line. You couldn't get anything better. Decked out, fully rigged, nothing better. Under $20,000. It's closer to $15,000. I remember the first boat I had, it was a demo, a Ranger 340, and I sold it. It was 8 months old, and I sold it for $11,000. Fast forward to now, we got bass boats that are $189,000. The typical flagship boat for most boat companies for a fiberglass boat are over $100,000 by the time you put 2 cheater boxes on it and 6 electronic units, power poles, the whole 9 yards. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And so the thing about this is, what is this doing to the sport, and where is it going to stop at? Where's the end? And there's nothing positive about this as far as the sport. I'll tell you right now, guys, if somebody showed up in a $200,000 bass boat, I would be embarrassed for them. It's like, that's the most radical example of conspicuous consumption I have ever seen. That'd be like rolling up in a freaking, Bentley or a Porsche pulling your bass boat. It's just ridiculous. Nobody needs a $200,000 bass boat. Not to say, and of course there'll be some people on video say, Randy, is like, if that's how they want to spend their money, fine. Well, we have a differing opinion on that, because what happens on this is it further exasperates this income disparity that I'm talking about in the sport of bass fishing. Now, not so much in recreational fishing, but tournament fishing, one of the problems that we've always had, especially, and it's gotten a lot worse over the past 10 or 15 years, is this huge income disparity gap that we have in fishing. Because you'll have, since the tournament organizations have not done the right thing and put equipment limitations on tournament boats, you can have some guy show up in a $250,000 bass boat if he wants to, competing right next to some dude that's got theoretically a $5,000 bass boat. And what it does not create an equal playing field. And this is even more important on the more like AAA and weekend type circuits, where you're trying to get a level playing field. That's the whole thing about why we have rules in tournament fishing, is we're trying to make it fair for everybody. But for whatever reason, the tournament organizations have not wrapped their head around the fact that equipment limitations are part of the reason that we do not have a fair playing field. You can sit there and, say that somebody can't have a jet drive, or you can't get out of your boat to pull it over a mud flat, or you can't carry extra gas in the boat, all that type of stuff in an effort to try to create a level playing field. But it's okay to have freaking 20 electronic units on the boat if you want to, and spend as much money on, rigging the thing out to the nine. So that is one major problem that we have in here. And that's one of the reasons I think that professional fishing has not it has not ever reached the level that it deserves to be in. Because you think about bass fishing in terms of like the payouts and tournaments and everything, there are more people that fish, there are more people that spend billions of dollars on fishing tackle, yet the payouts and tournaments are in the toilet. So from that standpoint, it's like it's the model that they have is simply not working. And what it does, everything is designed to benefit the tournament organizations. And I don't know what we're going to have to do as far as to level this out a little bit. I mean, the problem that we have is so much of our sport is centered around what the tournament organizations do, because they sort of set the trends. It's like when you're talking about lures and equipment and different type of innovations that come about, the tournament organizations that promote those things and the pros that promote it and the people that pick up on what the pros are doing, that's what sets the trends in the industry. And if we have a tournament organization that doesn't have any type of limitations whatsoever on this equipment and the technology and the amount of money that it has, there's no guardrails on it. There's nobody to monitor, how we have reached this point of this uneven playing field and the income inequality that we have in the sport. And one of the things that I'm really sensitive about, because I've been there and done that, and I talk to a lot of fishermen, is when you're talking about somebody and I'm talking about like professional or tournament fishing, an example, when you're talking about somebody that wants to be a tournament angler, a professional tournament angler, you've got this, it's like the elephant in the room that causes this separation, because you have one person out there that comes from a lot of money, they have family money, they have parents that want to support them, they give them and buy them the best that money can buy, new boats, tackle, credit card to go whenever they want fishing. And then you got another situation where you have another 15 or 16-year-old kid that's ate up with bass fishing, but maybe he comes from a single family parent, their parents are scraping. Sorry guys, just had the video cut off there real quick. But anyway, you've got two different sets of situations in terms of the financial inequities that exist between the sport that the tournament organizations have not tried to, level out. They're okay with one person out there not having, the resources to be able to fish professionally, and they're okay with somebody else that just has all the money they want to in the world to throw money at it. I'll give you guys a prime example. Our daughter Allison, she was on the high school fishing team here in Springfield, Missouri, and a couple of the tournaments that she had in there, we'd go to them, and there were kids that showed up, like several kids showed up in like a pontoon boat. They were trying to fish a tournament out of a pontoon boat. There were a couple people in there that had like V-bottoms, like with 20 horsepowers on it, every type of boat that you can imagine. And then there were some kids out there that had, brand new fully rigged bass boats with all the latest technology on it, competing in these high school tournaments. And they allowed it to go on. So why in the world did the tournament directors, even like in the high school level, allow one kid to be out there in a beat up pontoon boat competing against some dude in a $100,000 bass boat? That's the problem we have on every single level in fishing. And this whole thing about bass boats reaching $200,000 does not help out the problem at all. It all goes back to money. I talk a lot about this on the channel, and when you talk about tournament organizations that base their decisions as far as the rules and things that affect anglers simply upon money, whether it be electronic technology or things that benefit them and don't really do much for the sport, we're never going to get where we need to be in the sport. I mean, to me, for somebody that has been there on every level, I just hate to see that, because I know what it's like to struggle. I mean, I know what it's like to, bust tables and wash the dishes all weekend to have enough money to put $10 in your 9 horsepower outboard to go fishing, while somebody else has got, brand new rig that's out there with an unlimited amount of money. And I just want to see some fairness with it. I mean, I just want to see a level playing field in the sport where everybody can excel if you've just got the talent and desire to do so. If you look at any other sport, let's take football, for example. It's like, if you've got the passion and desire and you put in the hard work and you put in the dirt time, you're going to probably be successful to some extent, because in football or baseball or any other sport, it's not about how much money you have. It's like, when you're some aspiring kid that dreams about playing in the NFL, there's nobody there that's going to tell you, it's like, well, you can't compete, you can't get into this high school football program unless you have so much money and you've got to have this type of equipment. It's all about talent and passion and desire. And that's what fishing should be too. It should be talent, passion, and desire that should not be limited by the finances. And the problem we have is the tournament organizations will not put this limitation on the finances. Here, and it doesn't have to be anything major. You know what I would do if I owned Bassmaster? The very first thing that I would do is I would put a rule in there that you are not allowed to have a boat over 20 foot long that has over 150 horsepower unit on it, and you're only allowed one two-dimensional sonar and GPS, one unit on your console and one up front. That's it. You got 2 depth finders on the boat, you got 150 horsepower motor, got a 20-foot boat, and even though that's not a perfect answer, it's a start in some direction, because it puts a baseline on how much money somebody can spend. It's like now, you could get an aluminum boat that met that criteria, that everybody could be on a level playing field for $20 or $30, $40,000 versus, what we have now with things getting to be $150,000, $200,000 for boats. But don't count on the tournament organizations to do the right thing, guys. I can tell you that right now. We've seen it over and over again with this whole freaking spotlight and cheater box debacle. They're not going to do the right thing. Even in the face of public outrage and outcry. I mean, they're just going to do something to placate, the people out there where they're just not in a position where they're just going to start revolting. And that's one of the things that I have seen about tournament organizations ever since I've been fishing, is that this isn't anything new. It's like bass anglers have been unhappy with the way tournament organizations have run their tournaments for years. And the tournament organizations are very aware of it, and they throw the anglers just enough of a bone to keep them, again, from revolting and not fishing. And that's the way it's always been. And that's why the only way this sport will ever exist in a pure form is if it's a nonprofit organization that has, nonprofit organization owned by the anglers that have the number one priority of creating a level playing field. And we don't have that right now. So anyway, guys, let me know if you guys are cool with $200,000 bass boats. What do you think it's going to do to our sport? And we'll check in later.